Americans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We've been born out of conquering a world. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful and we're beautiful and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. But you must stop bowing to those who want to make you a victim. You must become the victor. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, then you are an enemy of the New World Order and Satanism. They want us shut down because we have the Spirit. I'm jacked into the source. I know the secret, and I want to see you empowered. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
The 98th Emperor of the Holy Britannian Empire.
So, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about Trump's response to Canada's threat against the American people. And if you think that I'm being hyperbolic for the sake of a thumbnail or a headline, you could not be more wrong. Now, let me just make my opinion on this topic very clear from the get-go so there's no confusion. I think Donald Trump is absolutely right in what he's doing. Canada has been ripping us off for years. And the thing is, I believe that most Americans were not aware of the sort of tariffs that Canada had placed on us. Because if you look at milk and chicken and cheese, and you look at these sort of tariffs, they're astronomical. They are extremely restrictive. And I think that Donald Trump, in order to get America a better deal, is saying enough of these unfair tariffs, where you can charge us 300%, but we can't charge you anything. Canada cannot defend itself. It doesn't have a military, and I know I'm slightly exaggerating. They technically have a military, but for decades, they've relied on us. We haven't asked for anything in return for that. Nothing. They don't have to put nearly anything into their national defense because they're so close on us and they rely on us. And so for anyone in the Canadian government to threaten to cut off electricity to Americans is absolutely indefensible. It's inexcusable. And Donald Trump is right to declare a national emergency because this threat is something that you would expect from an enemy. So if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, here's the video clip on Tim Pool's show. But this is something that's been making the rounds where the Canadian government is actually threatening the lives of American citizens.
Here's the video. Ontario threatening to cut off American electricity.
Let me be clear. I will not hesitate to increase this charge. If necessary, if the United States escalates, I will not hesitate to shut the electricity off completely. Believe me when I say I do not want to do this. I feel terrible for the American people because it's not the American people who started this trade war. It's one person who's responsible.
I voted
That's
for him, I
President
like it.
Trump.
Yeah, no, I agree with Tim. It's not one person. Donald Trump was elected by the American people. This is what they want. This is what we want. I support Trump 100%. I support Trump 100%. And by the way, our closest, dearest friend, Canada, China, over the last couple days, announced they're putting a 100% tariff on Canadian goods. 100%. That's quite a bit larger. That's 4 times what Trump was talking about. Although, by the way, if you haven't heard the news, the tariffs are already at 50%. Based on Ontario, Canada placing a 25% tariff on electricity coming into the United States, I have instructed my Secretary of Commerce to add an additional 25% tariff to 50% on all steel and aluminum coming into the United States from Canada, one of the highest trafficking nations anywhere in the world. This will go into effect tomorrow morning, March 12th. So that's tomorrow. So that is in effect tomorrow. But I think that it's absolutely critical that we listen to this, that we understand this, that Canada is not our friend. Canada is that one cousin that thinks that they're hot shit. They've been mooching off us for years. They think that they're some sort of tough guy. And now that you said, okay, well, you know what? You're not going to be able to just live at my place for free anymore. I'm going to be charging you a little bit of rent. Then they start threatening to break down the house and burn down the house. Oh, well, I'm just going to shut out all the electricity. I think Donald Trump is taking this with the seriousness it deserves. When you threaten the American people, no joke. I've had fun making fun of Canadians because to me, they're a chihuahua that thinks that it's a pit bull getting into a fight with a polar bear. But now you've nipped at the heels one too many times, and now it's time to swat you and make you come face to face with reality. I'm talking about metaphorically, of course. I'm not Hassan. And what does a SWAT look like? Well, a SWAT looks like, okay, well, we're going to be increasing tariffs by 50%, and we may be placing sanctions or restrictions on your country. And we're going to go over all the statements from Trump in response to this. But I think it is indefensible what this guy said. And he is an elected, I believe he's elected. Does Canada even have elections anymore? But he is a member of the Canadian government.
I'd rather be working together. I want to sell the U.S. more energy, more electricity, more critical minerals. I want to make Canada and the United States the richest, most successful, safest, most secure 2 countries on the planet. But as Premier, my number one job is to protect the people of Ontario and in hand protect the people of Canada. I will do whatever it takes. I will fight like I've never fought before to protect Ontario.
Yeah, sure. I'll give you that. And Donald Trump's job is to protect Americans and not Canadians. So when Donald Trump says you are taking advantage of us and for the betterment of the American working class and manufacturing base, we're going to issue tariffs. All you can do is really cry about it. Now, the market.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the most ill-advised, boneheaded moves. You realize this whole thing would have ended if you had said, okay, well, we're going to be decreasing tariffs on the United States. We're going to be decreasing tariffs and then making overt gestures at the border. But the fact is that instead, you have Canadian politicians grandstanding, even the so-called conservatives in Canada are coming out with anti-American, anti-Donald Trump rhetoric. That is retarded. And by the way, I've had a good laugh at Canadians saying, we're going to take American liquor off of our shelves. You mean liquor that you've already purchased and was not tariffed and is in the country, you're just going to throw it away? Okay. That's supposed to send a message. Who cares? Who cares?
It's taken a big hit, and
So anyway, let's jump over here to Truth Social, and let me read this statement from Donald Trump. I already read the intro to this. Also, Canada must immediately drop their anti-American farmer tariff of 250% to 390% on various U.S. dairy products, which has been long considered outrageous. I will shortly be declaring a national emergency on electricity within the threatened area. This will allow the U.S. to quickly do what has to be done to alleviate this abusive threat from Canada. If other egregious long-time tariffs are not likewise dropped by Canada, I will substantially increase on April 2nd the tariffs on cars coming into the United States, which will essentially permanently shut down the automobile manufacturing business in Canada. Those cars can easily be made in the USA. Also, Canada pays little for military, pays very little for national security, relying on the US for military protection. We are subsidizing Canada to the tune of more than $200 billion a year. Why? This cannot continue. The only thing that makes sense is for Canada to become our cherished 51st state. It's going to be the 51st state. It's going to be the most beautiful state. You'll be able to sing "Oh Canada," but it'll be as a state's national anthem rather than an actual national anthem. You'll be a state. You'll be under the protection of the United States like you have been, except this time you get more benefits from it. No more authoritarian anti-First Amendment. You get to keep your guns, lower taxes. It's a win for you, Canada. It's a win for you. Not so much of a win for us, but it's a win for you. Let's see. This would make all tariffs and everything else totally disappear. Canadians' taxes will be very substantially reduced. They will be more secure, militarily and otherwise, than ever before. There would no longer be a northern border problem. And the greatest and most powerful nation in the world will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever. And Canada will be a big part of that. The artificial line of separation drawn many years ago will finally disappear. And we will have the safest and most powerful nation anywhere in the world. And your brilliant anthem, "O Canada," will continue to play, but now representing a great and powerful state within the greatest nation the world has ever seen. Yeah, that's something. That's something, man. So this is the follow-up right here. Why would our country allow another country to supply us with electricity even for a small area? Who made these decisions and why? And can you imagine Canada stooping so low as to use electricity that so affects the life of innocent people as a bargaining chip and threat? They will pay a financial price for this so big that it will be read about in history books for years to come. Canada, a bit of advice. Threatening the American people. And I don't mean just, well, we're going to add more tariffs and we're going to stand up against Trump. I'm not talking about empty, platitudinal, typical political rhetoric. I mean going out there and making a statement that you're going to actually harm American citizens. That is a mistake. It is a big one. Huge, in fact. It is huge. The biggest mistake Canada ever made. Canada, you're fucked. You are you have taken a situation that could have been a win for everyone, and you have pissed all over it. And you have damaged this situation more than you can possibly imagine. This would be like a parent coming in and talking to a child and saying, look, you're older now. You've been living at home. You're 40 years old now. Maybe it's time you pay rent. And they throw an absolute tantrum and they threaten the parents and they start stomping their feet and breaking their toys that the parents already paid for. That's Canada. Instead of saying, okay, I understand from your perspective. No, the whole system has melted down. You have conservative, like, what is his name? I don't know. His name is, I like to buy Val, Peter, Paul Revere, Paul, whatever. On him, I don't even remember his name. Well, whatever that was name, Paul Revere, doesn't matter. He's a Canadian. He's a Canadian leader. The only one that we remember is Justin Trudeau is, well, first of all, because of the blackface, but also because he was governor. The first governor. Governor Trudeau. But here's the deal. This is no joke. I know I'm trying to make a little bit light of this, but you're threatening millions of Americans. And again, Trump makes a good point. Why on God's green earth does a foreign nation have any control of our energy at all? At all. At all. That they can even make this threat. By the way, if you want to know my personal opinion, I think Trump should play this clip 24 hours a day saying, Canada's been taking advantage of us for years. We asked for reciprocal tariffs on their unfair treatment of us. And the first thing they resort to do is attacking the American people. I think he should play that 24/7. He should play that around the clock. That Canada, their first move, their first instinct is to hurt you after taking advantage for years. These are not our friends. These are not our allies. These are people that will hurt you, actually hurt you, when they don't get their way. In my personal opinion. But ladies and gentlemen, it's nice to have a leader again. I support Trump 100%. I support him completely in this. Now, there are things that I don't support Trump on. You have to add that as a caveat because people say, oh, you're just a dick rider. No, that's sort of the lowest IQ take that Trump could do anything and people could support him. I find that the most retarded leftists are the ones that believe that Trump can do no wrong. No, Trump is criticized all the time by MAGA and the fan base. Like, right now, Trump is getting criticized for choosing Pam Bondi because of the Epstein thing. Do you think people are like, no, the Epstein rollout was fine? No, he's getting pilloried for that. But it's that people who are part of MAGA understand the big picture that, yeah, this was a major fumble with the Epstein stuff. But Doge is bigger. So we're going to focus on that for now. While also saying, hey, you really should leave the Epstein stuff to us. You shouldn't redact anything but the victims. Now, if you want to know my opinion, I do agree that the reason that the information hasn't come out is because there's a lot of stuff relating to Israel. I just personally believe that. It makes sense. With all of our politicians being like, we're Israel first, like these politicians like Rick Scott that posted a video with an Israeli flag in his background, but no American flag. Like, I sort of get it. I sort of get it that you're like, well, we're not gonna do this. But I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I think they should just release it. And the thing is, if if you have to hide what people are doing in order for them to be a friend, they're not a friend. That's not what friendship is built on. That's not what being an ally is built on. It's sort of like, oh, Canada and the United States are allies. No, not really. We don't really share any common values. Your people silence free speech. Your people take away gun rights. Yeah, you've enshrined that. Jordan Peterson had to go to a re-education camp. You're not in any position to be morally lecturing anyone about anything ever. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.